Hi guys, and welcome back to another video, and today I'm going to be talking about a character called Norman Clegg. Norman Clegg is one of my most favourite characters in all of fiction and all of television, one of the absolute amazing characters, and he was played by Peter Sallis and David Fennick. He was an absolute amazing character, and I'm going to explain why in this character file review of Norman Clegg. So I hope you all enjoy the video. Please remember to like and subscribe. And yeah, let's get into the main video. Norman Clegg was born in 1921, and he was born with his father, Mr. Clegg, and his mother, Mrs. Clegg. I've forgotten their names, so that's why I didn't mention that. But yeah, so he was born to them two, Mr. and Mrs. Clegg, in 1921. Many years later, Norman Clegg became a lino salesman, and that's where we kind of know him from in Last Summer Wine, him being that former lino salesman, which you get all of those references and call back to the time, the days he used to work at the co-op, and all sorts of stuff like that, which I always find really interesting. It was like that person who worked at the co-op in 1936 and all that sort of stuff, and 1939 and all that sort of stuff. I love that kind of references and callbacks. I think they're really interesting. He worked with his friend Sherbert in the lino department, and when they worked at the co-op, it was all very interesting. They had to try and get lino in, lino out, and they also had Norman Clegg's good old friend of Seymour Utterthwaite there as well to help him with it as well, which I love. First of all, it's absolutely brilliant series. You guys need to check it out. Brilliant. You get to see more of Norman Clegg's past, and I think that's really interesting. And it always opens with the diary of Norman Clegg, aged 18 years, and all that kind of stuff, which I always find really interesting and really fascinating that Norman Clegg would have written all that diary. He's sort of more of a sentimental man. He thinks of stuff like that, and he just seems like a really great character, and I really love that about his character. The character of Norman Clegg also appeared in all 295 episodes of Last Summer Wine between 1973 and 2010, which is an absolutely long. That's 37 years, and he was played by Peter Sallis for 37 years, and that's a very long time. Very long time. He's also the glue that holds the trio together in Last Summer Wine. He holds Clegg. Well, Clegg is the glue, but he holds Compo or Blainmeyer or Seymour or Foggy or Truly. He holds the glue together. He makes the team, and without Norman Clegg, there wouldn't be Last of the Summer Wine, because he is the character. He defectively is the main character, even though some people would suggest Compo is the main character for the first few series. But I would say that Clegg is the main character due to the fact of how much episodes he's in. He's in every single episode, and the fact that he's always there in everything. No matter what, even to when he's in series 31 and 32, when he does little cameos with Truly, he's still there. He's still part of the main story, which I always find really interesting. And he's, as I keep on saying, one of the best characters in fiction. But back to when he was younger in First of the Summer Wine, at the end of First Summer Wine Series 2, spoilers, they hear the sirens for the air raid, and then obviously we assume after that they would have joined the army, which David Fennick actually said when I met him and asked a question on the stage last year. So long ago now. I mean, it's incredible that I even met him. It was amazing. But yeah, so on the stage, David Fennick said that they were going to join the Home Guard, and it was going to be like Dad's army, and I think that would have been really cool to see. But alas, it wasn't to be. But I thought that would have been an amazing idea. Imagine Norman Clegg in the Home Guard. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant that would be. But before he joined the army or the Home Guard and all that kind of stuff like that, and before he was the lino salesman, and before all of that, he went to school. And he went to school with a lot of great people, great characters who would go on to be in the series for a very long time. So he went to school with Compo, obviously Clegg's best friend. They have the best friendship, I think, out of any characters I've kind of seen on screen. They really get along. They don't argue, they don't fall out. They seem to always be good friends, and I think like that's really amazing because you don't see that much on TV, even in comedies. I mean, Delboy and Rodney seem to be best friends, even though they're brothers and stuff, but they always fall out. But these two never really did. They all kind of got along. They never had anything to argue about. They were just kind of there. They moaned at each other here and there, but they were always made up and always were good friends. And that same can be said for Compo. Compo was just great, and he really worked well with Clegg, and their relationship amazing. But also his relationship with Foggy as well. Their whole relationship, that trio, as I've said in the past, are my favourite trio because of the way they just work so well together, and they appear in most of the episodes together. All 117 episodes they appear in together as a trio, and I think that trio is the quintessential trio of Last Summer Wine, and I don't think anyone could really disagree with that. But that is probably one of the most recognisable and standout trios of all time. I also think that Norman Clegg as a character he's not on one side of the end. He's not on the other side of the end. He's kind of in the middle. He's kind of like he's always in the middle of a situation because you say you have Compo arguing with Foggy or Compo arguing with Blamemeyer, because that happened quite a bit. You kind of see the disagreements, and then Clegg's in the middle, and he can just do that, and that's something he can agree on both sides or make a joke in between that, which I think's always really interesting. But Clegg is always more lean towards the Compo side more than the other. He kind of likes to take the mickey out of the third man, whoever it might be. But yeah, Norman Clegg as a character is just absolutely brilliant. And I would just like to say, Peter Sallis, you were an absolutely amazing actor, and your voice is just so iconic as well. The iconic voice, and everything about that character was just amazing. And the same thing we said for David Fennick. You're absolutely amazing. I loved meeting you. You were absolutely incredible. And they both had the same voice. They can both do the same voice. And when David Fennick did First Summer Wine, sure, he was a little bit older than Clegg would have been at the time, and he doesn't look that much like Clegg, but he still looks a bit like him as well. So the fact that he could do that voice and that impression, and it sounds absolutely amazing. He can still do it to this day. I mean, it was incredible. Loved that, David Fennick, you're a legend. But yeah, so that kind of thing like that. But Norman Clegg as a character, as I'm going into, he's got really great friendship. You can have a bit of banter, that modern day word I've just slotted in there. But yeah, he's just kind of there, and always find it funny. And something else I might mention, this is sometimes that usually people forget this, but Norman Clegg was actually married. He was married to a woman in 1940. I'm guessing we would have seen that if First Wine had gone into 1940, but as it didn't, that's very sad. And she died in around 1971, 1972, so just before the pilot of Last Summer Wine aired. So that would have been interesting to see her, but you never really know. I think her name was Edie or something like that. I've kind of forgotten her name. But yeah, but it was weird because Edie's a character later on who's related to the Pagans and that sort of stuff. So yeah, so that was rather interesting that he was married, but they never had any children. But apparently, according to Clegg, it was a happy marriage, and they got on well. But he was a bit confused after his honeymoon and everything like that. So they sounded like they kind of got on, but they didn't. It was a bit confusing. But yeah, they seemed, according to Clegg, seemed a good couple, but a bit of a strange couple as well. So that's something I can always say is just a brilliant relationship there. The good thing as well about Norman Clegg is, though, no matter what the changes in Last Summer Wine between cast, filming, all of that sort of stuff, he stayed. The character of Norman Clegg stayed the whole way through. He appears in every episode of Last Summer Wine, every episode of First of the Summer Wine. His character will live on forever. The fact is, he's been in all of those different types and is just truly an amazing character. I'm also talking about Peter Sallis here as well, because Peter Sallis, he must have had... He's such an incredible actor that he managed to play that character for that long. I mean, that's incredible. Absolutely incredible. You hear about actors in soaps and they play them for years and years and years, but very little of them have played them for 37 years, which is an absolute achievement for anyone really, which is amazing. And we also played Norman Clegg's dad in the prequel First Samurai, and he does a cracking job in that as well. Both very amazing. And obviously David Tennant does a great job in that as well, playing Norman Clegg as well. We also get to see Norman Clegg in the prequel, and I feel like Norman Clegg should have gone out with Dilys. I don't know why. That was just my personal preference, because I think Tim and Dilys kind of would have worked well together, but that was not to be. Shame. But yeah, so that's kind of what I have to say there. But he did go on a date with a woman in First One. I've forgotten the name now, but the actress was in EastEnders. I think it was Mary the Punk. I think she was in EastEnders. I'm not quite sure on that. Don't quote me on that, but I think I'm on the right lines. But yeah, so he dated her in First Summer Wine. Oh, remember, Anita Pillsworth. That's where it was. Anita Pillsworth. I think it was Anita Pillsworth. And I love the kind of the jokey elements in the prequel, because you get to see him as a young lad, 18 years old, a bit older than I am now, and just kind of him, mucking around and being Norman Clegg, which I think is really great. And he's still kind of like nervous and confused, a confused teenager. I always find that a bit interesting, and to see how he goes. And apparently, so apparently you see like him all the way through that, and always find it interesting. And he's got Sherbet to balance off, but we never really know what happened to Sherbet. A lot of people say that Sherbet might have died during the war and stuff like that, but we never really know what happened. He feels like a replacement, like a stand-in for Blamemeyer, but Blamemeyer was slightly different and a bit set in his ways. Which brings me on to Blamemeyer. He does have a really good relationship with Blamemeyer, which is a bit different considering they got quite contrasting views on the world as well. So that's quite, and they always take the mickey out of him for being a Tory, which I always find a bit funny and interesting. So that kind of a banter there that they have going on, I always find really interesting. And moving on to other friends he has, obviously he's got loads of great friends. Obviously he gets on well with, he also helps Barry out as well. Barry helps him out in Last Summer Wine as well, when he's being like captured by this woman who thinks he's rich and all this sort of stuff. And that was interesting. So I do really like that relationship with him and Barry as well, even though that wasn't touched on in that many episodes, but a great thing like that. It's absolutely incredible. I also love those episodes where you get to see Norman Clegg go on holiday with the group. I like the one where they go to Scarborough. That's really enjoyable episode. I think you guys should check that out. That's a really brilliant episode. I think you can find it on UK TV Play or somewhere. I think you can find it. But absolutely brilliant. His comic timing as well. Peter Sallis' comic timing is just incredible as well, and he gets on really well with the rest of them. And he's that kind of everyman quality who's kind of all the way there, and he is that glue, as I mentioned in the past, the glue that holds that trio together. Even when there's four of them, he holds the glue together. He's still the glue, or maybe him and Billy are the glue. That's kind of what I say, or him and Truly. And he does have that brilliant relationship with Truly that you get to see go on later in the series as well, which I always think is really incredible. And I really do love that relationship that they have, that friendship will never go on. And him constantly bickering with Howard as well, that's just really enjoyable as well. And I'll always find that funny when Marina, I don't know why I said Maria, sorry, Marina, she kind of has she kind of got a big crush on Norman Clegg after what happened in a lift one time, which I always find really funny. And it was an accident. It was very strange, but very funny and enjoyable. And it's just an incredible character. I love how he can make jokes about Ivy and Sid and all that sort of stuff. And I really do like the relationship with them all together. And Norman Clegg trying to drive a car. He can't really drive a car. He just can't, and that's something he'll probably never be able to do. Even though in First of Mine he does drive a lino van, so inconsistency, but you never know. But I guess when you get older, you probably can't drive as well as you probably once could. But I don't know. But yeah, I really do enjoy the character of Norman Clegg. He's a brilliant character. I've probably said multiple times during this whole video. But yeah, he's a character that will live on forever, no matter what, because there's so much media of him about, and he'll always be about. Peter Sallis, rest in peace. You're an absolute legend. And David Fennick, you're a legend as well. You did an incredible portrayal of Norman Clegg, young Norman Clegg, and was amazing. And I still I still think you're incredible, and I loved meeting you that time. Absolutely amazing. So yeah, that kind of brings me to the end of today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. I love making these videos, and there'll be more Last Samurai content coming out very soon. I've got plans for a video on who could be the father of Hobbo in Last Samurai, and that'll be an interesting video. Want to see how that goes down. And yeah, I've also got a video of another ranking video I want to do for the trios, which would be fairly interesting. But something else I would like to mention is that he got the last line in the episode of Last Samurai Ever. Did I close the door? Did I lock the door? Which is a great line. And yeah, did I lock the door? That'll be it for today's video. I hope you all enjoyed the video, and like and subscribe, and I'll see you in a video soon enough. My next video will be a sad video. I'm going to be talking about Ian Lavender, who was an absolutely amazing actor who passed away a few days ago. So I'll be putting out a video in memory of him very soon. And I'm gonna go now. Bye for now. See ya.